Hey everybody, welcome to this week's musing. So, today we're going to talk about doing the hard things. Mark Twain once upon a time said, "Eat the frog first." What the dickens was he talking about? The point is, if you do the hard things first, the rest of the day feels far easier. You know, just imagine you keep putting off all those things that you don't want to do, and then you crack it. You start off in the morning and you think, I'm going to do it. I'm going to crack this nut today. I'm going to get it done. It's hard. It's painful. I get that. But once you've done that, once you've done the hard thing, the rest of the day will be so much easier. Ben Horowitz wrote a book called The Hard Thing About Hard Things, and it is absolutely spot on. The longer you put something off, the harder and harder it's going to be. If you don't wake up every day, jumping out of bed and thinking, I've got this, carpe diem, my old school motto, the chances are you need to build up to it. You know, you can get bombarded by cheesy phrases. You know what? Progress, not perfection. Better than yesterday, got more to do for tomorrow. All these really cheesy phrases actually have elements of truth in them because, you know, it's about creating that story, about creating that drive on the inside. It doesn't always come naturally. This is where it's really important to differentiate the difference between inspiration and motivation. Inspiration is what's inside you. It's what's in here. Every day. It's what gets you up in the morning to go and do what you need to do. Motivation comes and goes. Sometimes you can be hugely motivated and you get after it, but motivation can wane. Inspiration and motivation, highly nuanced but massively powerful when they work together. So going back to the jumping out of bed, you know, it can take time. Sometimes we might not have jobs that we want to do. Sometimes we might have tasks that we need to do, but we're not looking forward to. You can develop the ability to work on the things that you don't want to do. Tony Robbins talks about having a cold shower every morning. I'm not sure I quite fancy doing that here in London every day, but the point is you can build up the resilience to it. We've talked in the past around mental resilience as well. Mental resilience is about taking yourselves into the challenging situations and coming out the other side. Well, funnily enough, the mental resilience side and the challenging side go hand in hand. If we take that one step further, mental resilience, inspiration, motivation, inner drive, doing the hard things first. How do we do it? Well, it all starts with you. Now, fundamentally, you are in a battle against you. Again, I know that sounds cheesy, and unless you're doing an endurance event or something, it's actually more cerebral than that. But ultimately, every day, you need to get better at being you. Kevin Hart, in his most recent podcast interview with Joe Rogan, talks around how he was recovering from his back accident. I believe it was a car crash. He talks about how he had to learn how to breathe again and how he was learning to walk and tackling those everyday activities that were being really difficult. He said quite simply, it's you versus you. Let that sink in for a moment. The only person that you're actually trying to compete against is you. It's far too easy to compare ourselves to perfect Instagram lives, which, let's be honest, is complete nonsense. Those thousands and thousands of photos to capture that one split second, I don't believe any of it. I would rather be comfortable in me, having a select group of friends around me, keeping me honest, than trying to aspire to be an influencer and aspirational lifestyle living, because I think it's nonsense. I don't actually think it's very good for the human race because it aspires or encourages people to go after something that's unachievable or just quite frankly wrong. Don't even get me started on the Kardashians. But it's about you against you. Small steps every day to make those incremental improvements. We often hear about people becoming an overnight success, which is actually nonsense again, because it can be 30 years in the making. All the hard work, the 10,000 hours to become proficient at a particular skill, you don't see it. In just the same way that Ben Horowitz says culture is what people do when nobody's looking, the same can be said for all the hard work that needs to go in. You don't need to post it on Instagram for somebody to know that you're working hard. That's like standing on the table in the middle of the office and going, check me out, I've just done a great piece of work on this Excel spreadsheet. I wouldn't friggin' bother. But the point is, it's going to be hard. But you need to do the hard things. If you don't do the hard things, the easy things will lead you into a false sense of security. And all of a sudden you'll just end up with this whole long list of hard things to do. But if you can seize the day, it means that everything else that comes after it will be much easier and more rewarding. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, far from it. It's going to take time, it's going to take patience, and it will mean doing the same thing repetitively over and over and over again. I'm currently going through a 90-day challenge, and to get to where I want to be physically, it's going to take time. I can't do it all in 1 week. But we need to break this attitude of instant gratification in the current world that we live in. Far too often people say, I want to lose some weight. How can I do that? Click on the internet, 21 days, get six-pack abs, here we go. 3 days in, doesn't happen. Why? Because you try and do everything at once. Ironically, how to make change and achieve your goals is a really unsexy, long-term, repetitive effort. How do you spin that to sell ebooks? It's hard. I mean, I know that as I've been through my career, there have been some really tough times. Started out as an accountant, and I didn't find it particularly easy, and it just took time and time and time again to get the understanding, to get it right, and to pass those exams. There were many times actually I spoke to my parents and thought, actually, I just don't want to do this. But through the encouragement and the understanding of what it would give me the other side, it was absolutely valid. Then all of a sudden you get into the workplace and you think, I've done these exams, now what? Well, then everybody else has done these exams as well, and you just think, well, what was the point? Eyes on the prize. Hard work pays off, as Matt Fraser from the CrossFit world would say. And it's true. Unless you've been given a trust fund and you don't have to work for your life, the chances are you're going to have to do stuff that you don't want to do. Now, either put off the hard questions, the hard challenges, the difficult situations, and just skirt around it and be forever known as just avoiding the difficult situations, or grab the nettle. Do it. It might go really badly, but sod it. You've tried. There's nothing worse than giving up before you've even started. And that's what it's like. If you look and you think, I don't want to do it, I can't do it, I won't do it. Limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs are the bane of everybody's lives. Those beliefs may have been instilled over years. From childhood through young adulthood into adult life, the chances are they may have been reiterated based on stuff that's happened. But they don't need to hold you back. We're going to go into a big exercise in the future around how to deal with limiting beliefs. But today's video is around doing the hard things. Do the hard things. Start. Just start. Just effing start. That's it. The only person that's going to laugh at you is you. Sod everybody else. Nobody's really going to give a shit if you start and then it doesn't quite go according to plan, because I guarantee you that people will look back and think, God, I wish I'd been able to do that. Well, you can. It's not rocket science. Now listen, don't get me wrong. There are many things that I've put off because I don't want to do them. And so I'm not sitting here being preachy and holier than thou, because that would be wholly disingenuous and wrong. Of course there are things I don't want to do. I remember doing my Ironman training. I used to have to swim in the morning before work. Man alive, that was hard. I hated it. Really hated it. For whatever reason, I had a mental blockage around getting in cold water before 7 o'clock in the morning and getting the lengths done. But I knew that once I'd done that and then jumped onto the treadmill to run however many miles it was, by the time that work came around, I could be smug in the satisfaction that I'd done my exercise. That was a pretty good feeling. But conversely, being able to have those tough questions at work and those situations where you keep putting off because you know that it's going to be a challenging conversation, don't do it. Integrity and values are massively important to me, and I believe in treating everybody as you want to be treated and being open and honest. Because you know what, if I had to stand up in front of somebody senior and say, this is what I've done, I need to be comfortable that I've acted in the right way. How you hold yourself, how you act, how you come across, the way that you operate is a reflection on you. You, your brand, how you're perceived in the marketplace, how friends and colleagues will talk about you. It's all within your control. You can do this. You can do amazing things, and I firmly believe that you are able to achieve more than you realise as you sit here now. Could you do an Ironman with the right time and effort? Abso-bloody-lutely. Do you want to? That's a different conversation. So that's enough rambling from me today, but the point is, you're going to have to do hard things. And the hard things about hard things is getting it started. Once you start, I promise you getting it finished will be easier, but you've got to start. And don't let anybody else put you off. Because procrastination is fear that will try and hold you back. If that's the case, write down what you're fearful of, have a look at it, what can you control? If you can't control any of them, just start. With that, I will see you in the next video.